Community education, also known as community-based education or community learning and development, is an organization's programs to promote learning and social development work with individuals and groups in their communities using a range of formal and informal methods. A common defining feature is that programs and activities are developed in dialogue with communities and participants. The purpose of community learning and development is to develop the capacity of individuals and groups of all ages through their actions, the capacity of communities to improve their quality of life. Central to this is their ability to participate in democratic processes. Community education encompasses all those occupations and approaches that are concerned with running education and development programs within local communities, rather than within educational institutions such as schools, colleges and universities. The latter is known as the formal education system, whereas community education is sometimes called informal education. It has long been critical of aspects of the formal education system for failing large sections of the population in all countries, and had a particular concern for taking learning and development opportunities out to socio-economically disadvantaged individuals and poorer areas, although it can be provided more broadly. There are a myriad of job titles, and employers include public authorities and voluntary or non-governmental organizations, funded by the state and by independent grant-making bodies. Schools, colleges and universities may also support community learning and development through outreach work within communities. The community schools movement has been a strong proponent of this since the 1960s. Some universities and colleges have run outreach adult education programs within local communities for decades. Since the 1970s, the prefix word community has also been adopted by several other occupations, from youth workers and health workers to planners and architects, who work with more disadvantaged groups and communities and have been influenced by community education and community development approaches. Community educators have over many years developed a range of skills and approaches for working within local communities, and in particular with disadvantaged people. These include less formal educational methods, community organizing and group work skills. Since the 1960s and 70s, through the various anti-poverty programs in both developed and developing countries, practitioners have been influenced by structural analyses as to the causes of disadvantage and poverty, that is, inequalities in the distribution of wealth, income, land, etc., and especially political power, and the need to mobilize people power to effect social change. Thus the influence of such educators as Paulo Freire and his focus upon this work also being about politicizing the poor. In the history of community education and community learning and development, the UK has played a significant role in hosting the two main international bodies representing community education and community development. These being the International Community Education Association, which was for many years based at the Community Education Development Centre based in Coventry, UK. ICEA and CEDC have now closed, and the International Association for Community Development, which still has its HQ in Scotland. In the 1990s there was some thought as to whether these two bodies might merge. The term community learning and development has not taken off widely in other countries. Although community learning and development approaches are recognized internationally, these methods and approaches have been acknowledged as significant for local social, economic, cultural, environmental and political development by such organizations as the UN, WHO, OECD, World Bank, Council of Europe and EU.